I'm currently improving my communication skills, and in order to do that, I had to review my videos. After I review my videos, I'd have a big laundry list of things that I needed to do. I needed to improve my tonality, I needed to focus on pausing, I needed to slow down. And I would look at that big list every time before I would record a video. I would record a video, and whenever I looked back on that video, I realized that I did none of the things that was in the list. And it was because I had too many things to focus on. I had too many focuses. And focuses shouldn't even be a word because you can only focus on one thing at a time. I had such a big list of things that I needed to do that I ended up doing none of them because it wasn't actionable enough. Having a big list of things that you need to do doesn't make for an actionable thing. It just makes a big bucket list. And because of that, I ended up doing none of them. None of them. And I only changed that by focusing on one thing at a time. I got rid of the whole big laundry list and I decided to just focus on one thing at a time, my major focus. Currently, my major focus is to slow down my speech so I don't stumble over my words. And I went from honestly, I was a horrible speaker. I looked back at some of my recent videos and I realized that I was using words like all the time. I was saying right for no reason. And I just had to slowly reduce them, but I had to focus on them specifically. I didn't have a big laundry list of things that slowly got better. And so, how can you apply this to your life? Well, first of all, you need feedback. You actually need an objective way to measure what you're doing, what you're not. Because let's say you're trying to start some habits, but you're procrastinating on all of them. You want to start reading, you want to start working out, you want to start jogging, you want to start walking. If you have a big laundry list of things that you want to do and you don't even measure them, then nothing will happen because you can only improve what you measure. I had to learn this the hard way. I'm only getting better right now at speaking in the camera to you by actually focusing and looking over my footage. And so, for example, in the habit example, just use a habit tracker, right? Check off every single day the things that you do and you don't do. If you don't do them, just leave it blank. If you do them, check them off. And you'll get an objective way to measure what you're doing and how well you were doing. You might think that you're doing pretty good, you think you're pretty consistent, and then you look at the graph and you just see that you've only worked out twice this week, and it's a Sunday. The only way I got better is that I actually started to measure. I I really want to drill this into you that you might think that you're getting better, you might think that you're improving, and honestly, at the beginning, you are. Anything is better than nothing. At the very beginning, you are improving even just by thinking about it. But eventually, you have to start measuring, and only after you start measuring can you actually start to focus on what you need to do. Because you might think that I have a whole big list of things I have to do all of them. When you objectively measure them, you'll see that there's really just one or two things that are really holding you back. And once you do them, it's like everything else becomes easier. It's like a constraint that you have. And so, with communication, specifically in my example, right now I'm specifically thinking about trying to slow down my talking. And because of that, I'm not stumbling over my words as much. I'm not saying as many filler words or filler noises. And it's because I slowed down. And if you keep trying to direct your focus everywhere, you have so many priorities, you'll never get anywhere. And so honestly, you'll be better off just trying to implement one thing at a time. You'll be better off trying to implement one habit at a time. I didn't overhaul my life in one day. It took years. It took years. And I only got here because I just did one thing at a time. Whether it be habits, whether it be books that I read, whether it be things that I implemented, I only had to do one thing at a time. And because of that, I actually acted on it. That's the only way that you can improve. That's the only way you can start. That's the only way you can stop procrastinating. And it's only by measuring what you already do and then figuring out one thing that you can do to improve it.